Hello, everyone.
Hey Izzy, love
Hello.
ya.
Hi. Okay. Well, what's this about? So, the suggestion here is that this isn't about anything, of course. So, what happens, what apparently happens, what appears to be happening isn't, well, not even really happening, of course. And it's not about anything. It's not heading somewhere. It hasn't got any deeper reason or purpose or cause. So, what apparently happens sitting on Zoom, breathing, talking is just naturally whole and complete. It's just perfect, if you like, exactly as it is. So, nothing could be added, nothing needs to be added or taken away. So, of course, this is the apparent suggestion, but what is being suggested is totally indescribable and totally impossible to attempt to describe. And it doesn't, of course, need to be described. What is sitting on Zoom is just what appears to be happening, and there is nothing else. But of course, what seems to happen, apparently happen, is there seems to be a body saying that this is happening to me. That sitting on Zoom, listening to Izzy is happening to me. And the suggestion, of course, is that this is an illusion. There's nothing wrong with this. This is just what also appears to be happening. But that there is an actual separate entity, a separate person called me, and that I am sitting here on Zoom listening to Izzy. This is an illusion, a dream. It just never happens. So, of course, there's no one that could die or fall away or collapse or be recognized that there's no one. This already is a total impossibility because there already is no one, so to speak. So, of course, that's it, really, in that sense. There is nothing to say, but of course, questions are always welcomed. Yeah, there's no right or wrong. We can have a chat. And if you'd like, I've put everyone on mute actually this week. And if you'd like to chat, which is more than okay, just raise your little virtual hand. And yeah, we can speak. Hi, Catherine. I'll unmute you.
No,
Hello.
sorry, I just waved to say hi.
Oh, right. Hello. Hey Rosa, I'll unmute you. You're on mute.
So
Ah,
you
there you
un you unmuted me and me too, so double.
go. Oh.
Okay, Izzy, would you please talk about nothing is happening? Although, yeah, you can't talk about it actually. It's a mystery, but nevertheless, I just want to feel the energy while you're talking.
Yeah, of course. I mean, well, obviously, what apparently happens isn't, well, it's not anything and it's not even happening. So, what apparently happens, one could say, is just nothing being everything, or in this sense, nothing's happening, one could say, would be this response, so to speak, to something that seems to say something's happening, or life's happening, or I'm happening, or this Zoom meeting is happening. So yeah, of course, the suggestion is that nothing is happening. And so there's just then what's apparently happening. Sitting on Zoom with Izzy just appears to be happening. You should be able to, yeah, okay.
Okay, it's crazy. I'm not okay. Thanks. Okay, all right, I got it. I totally got it. This is so funny. I just love it. I just love this energy. And this is so easy, easy listening like music without understanding, just having fun with nothing happening, everything happening, nothing understanding, absolutely senseless. And though here is full on life, yeah, with everything, suffering and pain and joy and whatsoever. This is actually just this. Okay, my love, thank you. And
Lovely to
please
see you,
mute
Ed.
me now and whatsoever. Bye bye, enjoy.
Take care. Hi, Catherine.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, we can just talk about anything, can't we?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's funny. Sometimes there's no questions at all, and then just with some words that you say, there's like the mind is trying to understand what is not understandable, and then it's like a fight going on, you know. But yeah. Yeah, no, and now I don't know what to say. What shall I say?
I mean, yeah, totally. It's the apparent person seems to turn the apparent mind seems to turn this into just another concept in that sense. And so one could say it approaches what it thinks of even as a message as something else to work out or that must be solved. So that Izzy must be saying something. So if I just worked out what she meant by nothing being everything, or that the person is the dream, or whatever, it really seems to genuinely think that the answer will be on the other side of the solving the problem. But
Yes, it's when it said that nothing is happening. It does. It seems that it's obvious over there, and it's obviously not obvious over here. You know, and then it still makes it out like there is something either to get or something has to drop to get there, and it's back on the hamster wheel of trying to find an answer to a thought, really, just another thought answering a thought. uh, yeah, I don't know. I just fancy chatting.
well, yeah, I mean, exactly. But the funny thing is, one could say, like, the person then would seem to think it's obvious here that Izzy is really seeing something, or it's obvious to her. But of course, it's not obvious to anyone, and there's nothing that becomes obvious or is obvious. The apparent suggestion is that sitting on Zoom is just all there is, and it's just what's appearing to happen, and that it's already not happening to, by, or for anyone. So of course there's no Izzy, there's no one sat here that is seeing something that's so obvious that Catherine isn't, or anything like this. There just is no one in the first place. But of course, the nature of the person seems to hear Izzy speaking and really then think that this is pointing to something, however subtle it may then become, that it's pointing to nothing or a no thing or whatever. But no, I mean, it's just all there is this. That would be the suggestion. And this, what appears to happen, is everything. It's whole and complete.
And that's still trying to make something out of.
Of course.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this can seem to be the person, this certainly happened for me, like the new sort of triggering thing for the person. It sort of seems to be the next problem it wants to then solve. And then if the words don't fit right, or if something's said that doesn't seem to fit these formulas it's created about an apparent message, then it's like, well, what does that mean then? How does this fit into this message? And it just makes this yet another thing, it seems, to sort of solve. If it wasn't the sort of the therapy or the whatever that it was before, it's now this message. It's this message must be something. And I mean, in that sense, totally, it just seems to be how that setup of the person works. There's already no one doing that, of course.
Yeah. So also feels a bit like a loss.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, seen from the person, well, the absolute loss, one could say, which is death. So
yeah, or attachment to this known identity, even if it's non-existent.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of course, there's no one who is attached to the person. This sense of not wanting to let go, of the fear of the so-called unknown. I mean, this is just, of course, what appears to be happening, but seen from the person, this absence is terrifying, one could say. But of course, the funny thing you could say is, of course, it's an absence that's already the case.
Yes. It's again imagining something else than just what is.
Which, of course, is also just what is. There's, of course, no one doing that already. So,
oh, this is fun. It's just, yeah, it's fun. Anyway, someone else might want to speak, so thank you.
Lovely to speak with you. Okay, I've got one in the chat. Hello, Izzy. Oh, can you explain more about there is no difference between me and no me? And sometimes you say it is totally different. Well, of course, there is no me, and there is no me. So the apparent person seems to then, I feel like someone, I am real, and then it turns this apparent no one or no me into something, or even a someone, or sees Izzy and projects all these things onto the body or whatever, that there's no one in there, or that, oh, I mean, of course there is no one in there, but it comes up with all these ideas, and so it turns no one into another thing, almost turning no one into another someone, you could say. And so, of course, there's no actual difference between me and no me, because neither exist in the first place. So, I mean, there just is no one. So, yeah, I already asking this question would assume, of course, that there is me and no me. But of course, then when there's an apparent difference, one could say, because of course it seems for the person, well, what do you mean? There must be a difference when I'm me, I'm real, and then there's this apparent collapse, and then there's no one, and then there's no me. I mean, totally indescribable, of course. The funny thing one could say is that there never was this death, that there's always been no one, so to speak, and there never was anyone. So, of course, seen from the person would see this or think this to be a total difference, that there's this collapse and then there's no one. But of course, yeah, there is no difference. It's just this, and there's never been anyone. Okay, another one in the chat. Hi, Izzy, could you speak about empty fullness? Well, of course, what appears to happen, what apparently happens, sitting on Zoom, listening, breathing, is empty fullness. So what is, I mean, there's nothing else that could be said about it, of course, and there's no explanation for that. There's no, like anything, there's no reason, no cause. It's just empty fullness. It's just totally just what appears to be happening. And it's totally, totally empty and of simultaneously totally full. It's not empty of anything or full of anything. It's just what is empty fullness sitting on Zoom. Yeah. Just totally, totally whole and complete. Hi, Maria. I'm not sure if you wanted to speak. Do you want to speak? Yeah, I'll unmute you. Hello. Oh, that's okay. Words seem so meaningless in the chat. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, meaningless like everything else in that sense. Yeah. So words, just words. There's nothing deeper. There's nothing behind them. They're not pointing to anything. I mean, just totally normal in this sense, of course. Words are just words. So they have an apparent functioning, conversation, description, explanation, whatever. But they're just not actually describing or explaining anything. So there's no, I mean, words are just totally empty in this sense, empty of any meaning or reality. So us having a conversation on Zoom, an apparent conversation on Zoom, is just no different from having a chat with a friend on a walk or calling, I don't know, calling your parents or whatever. Just words. And of course, the person would seem to project some sort of, especially for an apparent meeting or message, some sort of meaning onto the words that Izzy says. Empty fullness, nothing being everything, the dream, the illusion. And she must be saying something. But no, what this is suggesting is exactly that. Words are just words, and there's nothing in them. And there's nothing in anything. Okay, in the chat. This looks like totally crazy for the human being. We want better in general since a long time, but we see the suffering too, and nothing can be explained because there is no one in the first place. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for the apparent person, there can be, it seems different sort of, I mean, it's a total story, obviously, but there can be different levels of openness to this, one could say. I mean, levels, yeah. Just can't even go there, but there can be certain more openness to this type of communication. And then also for some apparent people, this does seem totally crazy. That there is no one. And that what apparently happens, just happens totally by itself. And it's just waking up, having breakfast, having a shower, it just all happens already on its own. And so one could say it seems that it's the apparent person that's always striving for better, that's always trying to feel good, trying to avoid the pain, work out how to forever be without suffering or whatever. But of course, one could say, as part of being human, apparently being human, it's everything. So, of course, the apparent person seems to want to tailor its so-called experience so that I only feel good, happy, bliss, whatever. But this apparent happening is everything. So the sadness, the pain, the joy, the happiness. So yeah, there is nothing to explain in that. Of course, there's just what appears to be happening, and there never was anyone, never is anyone. And just for a joke, you are the most younger person who died before death. Yeah, exactly. I only lasted 22 years. R.I.P. Oh, talking or not talking, it's so wonderful just being here with you. Thank you, Elizabeth. Okay, another one in the chat. Izzy, I was listening to Andreas's talk in Brighton 9 months ago, and I heard Izzy asking questions. This gives the hopeless seeker some hope. Yes, no, you probably would have seen me pop up there. I think that was the one in person in Brighton, actually. Yeah, well. Yeah, it was an audio only. Yeah, no, that was a lovely meeting. I mean, after, as a story, of course, after there was an apparent awakening here, and then hadn't actually come across this message at all. And then I met Andreas a few months after that, and yeah, just sort of, I remember it felt quite cold and dead, ironically. And sort of there was a more of a rejection, I'd say, in favor of the sort of more self-inquiry stuff, because of course that seems to give the person something to do. And then after that you died. Yeah, I mean, 9 months maybe. But I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? The person will sort of, what was the order when, okay, so Izzy met Andreas, and then she was still around, there was this awakening, then there was this, as if it sort of is this actual process that happens. And yeah, the person wants it all. Exactly. Izzy met Andreas. Okay, let me just write this down. Yeah, give me the process. Exactly. Yeah. But of course, the funny thing is, in the end, so to speak, I mean, with a parent person, it really does seem like a process. I met Andreas, I then felt like this, then it was seen that there was this, and then this, and then. But of course, in the end, the funny thing is, it's just seen, one could say, of course, not by anyone, and it's not, that's even saying too much, so to speak, but it's obvious that there just never was a path, there never was a process. And that the idea of there being a process was, of course, part of the same apparent dream. That I am here, I'm real, and then I sort of fell away, I came back, but parts came back, it was never the same, and then I'm going to fall away completely. I mean, of course, in the end, so to speak, it's just revealed that there never was anyone. Exactly. The whole thing is apparently, exactly. Yeah. It's always just been this, so to speak. Apparently going to see Andreas, apparently then whatever, apparently then speaking on Zoom. It's always just this. Hi, Catherine.
Is it all zombie talk then? Is the dead talking to the supposed living, saying, no, you're there's no one there. You know, the idea that you Izzy died. So you're talking from the dead. Is the dead talking? And talking to the living, saying, no, there's already nobody there.
Well, one could say so, of course. Yeah, yeah. But of course, I mean, there's no one who's alive.
Yeah, there's the non-existence of I. Yeah.
Total. I mean, there isn't even a non-existence of I. There just is no I. I mean, this whole yeah, I mean, yeah, you could say non-existence, but of course, one could say that's already saying too much. I mean, to even say there is no I is just doesn't even make sense. I mean, this whole I, it just there is no I. There is no I that isn't existing or that is non-existence. There's just what appears to be happening. So apparently a body sitting on a chair, listening, speaking, breathing, and it just isn't happening to anyone. So these whole concepts of is there an I and then there's not an I mean,
No. It's nice. Yeah. Thank you.
oh, thank you. Thanks, Catherine. Thank you, Nick. Nick. I hope that's how you pronounce your name. Maybe just Nick. Oh, hello.
I cannot unmute myself, I see, but it's Nick.
Nick. Oh, okay. Thank you.
The first time you said it right.
Oh, okay. Okay. Good guess.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Nick. I'll just unmute everyone now. Well, you can unmute yourself. We haven't got much background noise, so. Hi,
Hey,
Rosa.
Izzy. It's me again. Apparently. You know what really struck me when I first saw you and listened to you was this confirmation that it's simple. It's unknown and simple because it's different. The energy is different no matter what you're listening to. Radical non-duality, Tony Parsons, Jim Newman, or a kind of a mixed teaching about this. And there is already this energy, and you are simply, there is no choice. You resonate and go. And when you popped up, I was simply done, This smile, this childish smile. Is it here too? I'm more childish like my son is, And when I saw it, was like, yeah, it's just there is no thinking about this anymore, and everything which was still holding on to thinking about something which is happening by its own, of course. It was just drop, boop, boop, boop. Who cares? Or even if there is the thought after it, it's kind of funny. And yeah, this is so lovely with your easy listening. And smiling. It's just such a beautiful energy, really. So lovely.
Oh, thank you, Rosa.
Yeah. And yeah, just this. Love ya. Enjoy.
Nice to see you.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Hi, Izzy. Can you see
Hiya.
me? Maybe is my camera on? Maybe it's not on.
No, you can just hear you.
Yeah. Oh, that's me.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hello.
Hiya. Sorry, I'm just joined so late, but I forgot it was on.
That's all right.
What was I gonna? I went to Kenneth Madden at the weekend,
Oh, cool.
and I gave you a plug.
Oh.
So, but no, I was listening to something earlier that you in your last video, and it's gone out of my head. So sorry, I haven't got a question after all.
That's all right. It's
I've
nice.
really contributed to this. So, um, do these normally stop very sharp, 7 o'clock, and that's it, or because I've left it
No,
so.
it depends. If someone's got a question later on, it's very, very relaxed.
All right. Okay. I should
If
have
you
known.
remember, that's fine. You can ask.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just completely went out of my head, and I thought, well, I'll see, because I'm on my computer, which is much better, and I didn't know if it would work on the computer or not. You know, um, I do have a question, but just it's gone. Sorry. So I'll mute myself and say hi and hi and
Yeah.
goodbye, as they say.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
I got my question. It was just actually about Saturday when Kenneth said to me, "There's no one sitting right there," and it was like being hit in the face, almost a physical sensation. And I wondered, did you ever experience that? When someone prior to the apparent awakening, did you ever experience that? Almost like when someone tells you this directly, it almost sort of physically rocks you back. It was quite. Quite. And my eyes started to sort of, it was almost like I've got to find an answer, I've got to find a question here or something to say, but it was there wasn't anything. Did you ever feel that?
Well, I wouldn't have said in that sense of some. If I only went to, let's say, on this type of communication. I think I only went to one or two in-person meetings.
Okay.
So in terms of this actual confrontation, one could say, it was more I just watched online and stuff like this. But
Yeah.
so I can't say that in terms of sort of because it was mainly Andreas I listened to, if he ever said that. When I did hear him speak the first time, there was definitely a lot more. It wasn't obvious, let's say. It was more conceptualized. The person, when I was still alive, turned it into something. But there was a time I do remember when it was obvious, let's say, that and this was just when I was on my own, so to speak. It was just obvious that this was about me dying. So not a concept of me or a concept of Izzy or an ego or whatever, that this was actually about my death. And that then seemed a little bit well, of course, confronting, but you could also say just a bit weird, I guess. That would be a good way to describe it, because, well, of course, it's totally indescribable, but it was just a bit, like you say, it's then very obvious how the apparent person then desperately is looking for answers, as you say.
Yeah, or almost desperately looking for a question, just to keep the conversation.
Anything.
Almost sort of like, they say, but searching is good because the seeker loves searching because they know somewhere they'll never find, and it was almost like, let's keep the journey going by asking a question. And
Oh, totally, of course, totally. And I mean, obviously there is no one already, but it can
Mm.
seem for the person then this is just turned into another concept, another conceptual thing. There is no one. Kenneth's saying there's no one. Izzy's saying there's no one.
Mm.
But then it can suddenly be there
Yeah.
is actually no one. And of course, then, I mean, for me, when I was explaining that, when that was seen, so to speak, it was then quite confronting because the person does not want this, of course.
Yeah. It was like I like to carry it around as a concept, but when you hear it, was almost physically rocked you back. It was, and Kenneth actually noticed it. You know, he could see that the. Yeah, I suppose I don't know. You could you could sense that I was squirming or something. I don't know. I don't know. It was quite funny, but it was almost like, yes, I love this as a concept, but don't make it real, if you like. Don't make it actual, you know. But so there you are. Excellent.
Yeah, of course, of course. This apparent message seems very attractive for the so-called person.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Yeah.
of course, the person doesn't want this. Of course, it doesn't want its
Mm-hmm.
own apparent death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's not a description or a theory. There is actually no one.
Yeah, even that, just saying it, it's something lovely about hearing that, and something not, you know, it gives you both ends of the scale in one shot, you know. So very good, excellent. Thank you.
Nice to see
That's right.
you. Okay, right. We've just had a lot of people join, and I think what may have happened is the clocks went forward in England on Sunday or Saturday night. So I think a lot of people maybe from America seem to have joined an hour later, which is fine. What we can do is we can carry on for half an hour, maybe, if people want to go. If you've already been in for an hour, you're more than welcome to leave. You are free to leave. But for those that have just arrived, we can just do half an hour. That should be fine. So, something in the chat. The glimpses are very horrible for me because I've apparently a lot of openness at this time. Body lighter, a lot of bad or good behaviors move, and I just remember this now. It's the total reverse, and I know I can't make anything to reproduce the openness. It's really frustrating. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, of course, these apparent glimpses can seem to be a so-called mix for the person. So just like this apparent message, it seems to be a bit of a love-hate. So the glimpses seem to be, on the one hand, quite exhilarating and wow, you know, of course for no one, but like oh, finally this is it, or this is what Izzy's talking about, or whatever. I mean, obviously this seems to happen when the apparent person comes back, but at the same time then, as amazing as this glimpse may seem, it also can very quickly, for me anyway, it very quickly could become incredibly frustrating, because the person then seems to chase that, of course, and want to reproduce the glimpse, like you say, reproduce the openness, and then it sort of starts this new game of how can I trigger that glimpse again, or should I let go, or be open, or come to the Zooms, or whatever. But of course there just is already no possibility of triggering this glimpse, because the glimpses never happen. There are no such thing as glimpses. Yeah, they just don't exist in the first place. No, I mean, it's just totally impossible. Of course there's no one, but the glimpses only seem a thing for the apparent person. It's just totally impossible for there even to be glimpses. I mean, it doesn't even make sense in this way of or for or by, just sitting on Zoom, a body, apparent body, sitting, breathing, listening. It's just this. But of course, the apparent person, it very much feels as if there's this dance between glimpsing and being back to me. In the end, so to speak, it's just obvious this never happens, and it never did happen. As real as it feels for the apparent person. Okay, another one in the chat. For example, if someone is sick and takes medicine, is his recovery independent of the medicine and vitamins used? Because there is no cause and effect, there is no linearity. Well, of course, this just is what appears to be happening. And someone takes medicine, they're sick, they take medicine, and then they seem to get better. So this wouldn't be saying that, I mean, this idea of cause and effect would be sort of trying to use an example for something. So is it that, for example, if someone takes medicine, then the healing doesn't have any relation to the medicine? I mean, when, of course, taking apparent painkillers or medicine or whatever may have an apparent effect on lessening pain or feeling better, but there just is no actual cause and effect, and there is no one actually doing that already. So this idea of cause and effect, of course, would seem to come from the apparent person that seems to think, I took the medicine, and then that's why I'm now feeling better. So it attributes the effect to its cause that it chose, or it believe it chose. But of course, the suggestion is that there just is no actual cause and effect, because one could say, I mean, there is no because, but there is no you in the first place that could cause anything or be affected by anything. The body gets sick, the body takes medicine, and the body feels better or not. Just totally normal already. Okay, another one in the chat. Did you do self-enquiry? Yes. I did. Very stressful self-enquiry, you could say. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Of course, this seemed to be a part of my, what I thought I did as part of this spiritual process, one could say. But yeah, I mean, this whole inquiry thing, at first, it seemed very exciting. It seemed as if, there was really some truth there that could be reached. I am awareness, I am consciousness, I am no one, I'm everything, whatever. But of course, I mean, quite quickly, this became quite a burden. This whole thing of, constantly having to, who am I? What is this? Sort of question life or question yourself in this way. Of course, apparent inquiry. There never was any actual inquiry. I mean, yeah, for me, as I say, this just became very quickly just a nuisance. I mean, there is no self that could be inquired into, nor is there anyone that could inquire. So it's obviously a total non-starter in that sense. But there's nothing wrong with this, of course. Apparent self-inquiry, a body sat there saying, I'm doing self-inquiry. Did you do self-inquiry? It's just what appears to be happening. Of course, there's no actual self-inquiry. It's just a total impossibility. Okay, a couple more in the chat. How does it feel to be no one? Well, of course, there is no answer to that, and there's no feeling, and there's of course no one is not a feeling, of course, and there just is no experience or feeling or awareness. I mean, I died, of course, so the one who could possibly say that it feels like this or it feels like that is dead. So there's just no one who could report. There's just no one who could report anything about anything or anyone. So, of course, feelings may arise, feeling happy, feeling sad, feeling excited, whatever. It's just totally normal already for no one. But these feelings just aren't experienced by anyone. This apparent illusion is this idea that I have feelings, or I am feeling happy, I am feeling sad. No. Just already an apparent illusion, so to speak. Okay, someone else in the chat says, how does this work? How can I ask a question, or do I just type it here? Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can speak in using your voice, or you can just type. Either's fine. Okay. Hi, Izzy. From the Bee Gees song, I started a joke and I didn't see that the joke was on me, on Karma Gravity Level. What could be the lyric from you on a non-personal level, just on a lighter creative note? Oh, I think I see what you're saying. Well, of course, really, in that sense, there is no message. So, I mean, I know it's a bit of fun. It could just be there is no one. That seems to be, you know, what one could just say. But of course, there is no actual message. So even pinning this down to a lyric or a mantra or whatever, I mean, of course, the person would turn there is no one into a message or a mantra or a teaching. But no, there's just no one. But yeah, there is no one could be the lyric if we had to. Do I speak French? No. That would be the best answer. I'm not going to attempt. I did a little bit when I was younger, but no, unfortunately not.
Hi, Izzy. Can I ask you a question?
Hello, hi, yeah.
So, what was the road like, and how did you get to this point? How did the character named Izzy get to this point where you're free of everything that seems to be on us as people, as human beings, as this character that wakes up every day and has, as soon as, I open up my eyes, have all these memories, like rumination. It's like a movie just playing all over again, which is not pertinent to today, just like as it wasn't pertinent to yesterday. And it just keeps happening every morning. And until I get up, meditate, it doesn't go away. Once I meditate, yes, it falls off. So how did you even do it, or how did you get to this path by relinquishing all of that? I know it's a loaded question, but
No, I mean, well, of course, the apparent suggestion is that, I mean, the person, so to speak, would seem to think that Izzy has got something, or that she has realized something, or that something has fallen away. But of course, the apparent suggestion is that just that idea already that something could fall away or has to is already an illusion, so to speak. That there already is no one. So, of course, the suggestion is that the body appears to wake up in the morning, the apparent thoughts start, the memories, the whatever, totally normal. Just that this is already for no one. There already is no one lying in bed thinking I shouldn't be thinking, or I need to go and meditate to stop the thinking. So of course, this is what is being suggested is totally normal. There's a body, it thinks, it ruminates, it appears to think, ruminates. I mean, of course, since I died in that sense, there never is anyone who's doing that, but a lot of these sort of anxious ruminations, one could say, seem to just totally collapse. But of course, there's no one bringing that about or trying to do that. And already with these apparent ruminations, there already is no one. But I mean, in terms of, I think I've spoken a little bit about my story, so to speak. And, you know, there was spirituality, there was meditation, there was this same idea that, you know, the thoughts need to be gotten rid of. You know, this is about having a silent mind or whatever. But no, yeah, all this obviously eventually just collapses.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That was a good answer. Yeah, it's when I do the meditation that it just collapses, if I could use that word. But it's I find it very interesting. It's the same thing every day. Wake up, the thoughts are out of control. Meditate, in a split second, they just bam, go away. And for the rest of the day, I'm completely fine. But I've never heard your story, so I may have to go and watch some of your older videos.
Well, it is in some old. I'd be more than happy to speak about it, obviously, but
would you please? I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, that would be fun. I've got one more in the chat. I mean, well, briefly, of course, because there is no there isn't, you know, the apparent person seemed to want to know the story, to sort of know what led up to this apparent death, of course, but there is no death, so there is nothing that leads up to this. I mean, of course, as a story, one could just say, you know, that like every apparent person, that I was just seeking, and this came in many different forms. So when I was younger, probably more experiences or happiness or relationships, or academic achievements, then, you know, more like a career and things like this. And then sort of more suffering came when, you know, I sort of got a little bit older, started thinking, okay, what should I do with my life? And then sort of turned towards more sort of psychology and then spirituality. I mean, this is a whistle-stop tour, obviously. But then sort of, you know, came to non-duality, and then there was an apparent awakening, one could say. I was sort of traveling around some Buddhist monasteries and all this, and there was an apparent awakening that actually wasn't any, it was totally just normal in everyday life, so to speak. It had nothing to do with meditation or anything like this. But then obviously I survived this so-called awakening. I came back, so to speak, and then there was a lot of pain, a lot of trying to re-glimpse or reawaken or whatever, or trigger a death or a falling away or whatever. And that lasted, and then there was just this sudden explosion, one could say, into boundlessness, where I died, essentially. And of course, no one wakes up, no one is liberated. It's the total end of the apparent person, only to be revealed, of course, that there never was anyone. So of course there never was an end either.
Okay, thank you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, a couple in the chat. Like the way of water has no beginning nor end. Yeah, one could say so, of course. Nothing has any beginning or end. Yeah. When I interact with people who have a higher sense of self or are in a position of power, it seems like there is someone there in the body who really knows what he is doing. Of course, one could say so, yeah. But of course, I can't sit here and say, oh, yes, that really means, they've got a strong sense of self then, or the illusion is really strong, because there just isn't a person. There is not a sense of self. There isn't an illusion, an actual illusion of a sense of self. Of course, we call this an apparent illusion that I am someone. There's not an actual dream or illusion. So yeah, one could say that there seems to be a body that seems to think that it is that body, so to speak, or that I am someone. But this of course doesn't mean there is someone. Of course not. There is no one. And also, this isn't bad or wrong. Just what appears to be happening. That there seems to be someone there that seems like they really know what they're doing. That's just what appears to be happening. Okay, no person, no experience, right? Any experience of something is not even possible, is it? Not now, not ever, even feeling as in me having them or even not having them. Exactly. The person is totally impossible. Experience is totally impossible. Awareness is totally impossible. Yeah. Do I earn a living? If so, do I enjoy it? Well, currently not, no. So I can't say I do or I don't. Maybe I enjoy not having to. But no, this will be something I'm sure in the future I'll have to do, of course. Yeah. Stories are and personal, like in spiritual books or from a person's past. Stories are stories and personal, like in spiritual books or from a person's past. This is impersonal, I guess. Well, no, of course, this is neither personal nor impersonal. So what is being suggested is the total collapse of, this idea of impersonal is only even a thing because this idea of personal seems to be a thing. There just is no such thing as either. So of course the apparent person would seem to interpret this as, well, okay, I feel like someone, and Izzy's speaking from the absolute or from the impersonal or whatever, that she has fallen away and she's realized something. But no, there's neither personal nor impersonal. There quite simply is just what appears to be happening, which is just whole and complete exactly as it is, including all concepts of personal and impersonal. Okay, in the chat, do I ever worry about the future? Well, of course not. I don't, there is no one. So there is no future. So, but there is no experience of this, of course, either. So there is no experience of, it's so nice, I don't have to worry about the future. There just is no one. So one could say with this apparent collapse of the apparent person, or there's also this apparent collapse, of course, of a lot of these neuroses. Of course, neuroses, anxieties may still arise, but not to anyone. Never to anyone, of course. But of course, I mean, this sense of there being a future or something to plan or something to organize or some anxiety about the unknown or whatever is the sense of there being someone. So of course, planning may happen, thinking about the future, the so-called future may happen. What am I going to do for the rest of the evening? What shall I do tomorrow? But this sense of anxious worry that seems to be associated with this apparent person, or seems to be this apparent person, of course, is just not there, and never is. And the person seems to think, if I control the future, if I plan it, if I worry about it, then it will be okay. Then I'll know what's going to happen. And then I can relax. Yeah. In the chat, would you suggest self-enquiry? Well, no, of course not. No. I mean, this isn't suggesting anything. It's not a teaching, not a therapy. It's all this is suggesting in that sense, but not in the way of to do something. The suggestion, one could say, the apparent communication is that this is all there is. Sitting on Zoom, speaking, listening, laughing, whatever, is just all that apparently happens. And there's nothing else. So would I suggest self-inquiry? Well, of course not. And this, of course, is already a total impossibility, as I said earlier. Self-inquiry is just totally impossible. It just doesn't ever, nor can't happen. Just a total impossibility. Okay, I'm going to take 2 more in the chat, and then unfortunately I'm going to have to leave it there. Yeah, for those that joined at, well, what was 7, because the clocks went forward in England. I think there was a little bit of confusion with the times. So we've been going for an hour and a half now. But I know for some people it's only been half an hour. So I'm sorry for those that have just joined. But yeah, I'll talk about the next meetings at the end. I'll just take these last 2. So the person here never gets satisfied. There are 2 ways of getting upset for me, not getting what I want or getting what I want. But now I can see why. As you said previously, the person always wants to get something out of life, not seeing the abundance of it, which is for no one. Exactly. Totally. Yeah. It's just this personal satisfaction is totally impossible already, because there just is no person. So of course, I mean, the apparent person seems to work towards satisfaction, as you say, wanting to either push away what it doesn't want or pull what it does want. But this already is a total impossibility. Not least because there is no satisfaction in that, but obviously also, or more to the point, is that there just is no one who could possibly be satisfied or dissatisfied if there was. And yes, the apparent person always seems to want to be getting something out of life, so to speak. But of course, there just is no one who could possibly do this already. There's just life. So finally in the chat, time is a strong illusion proved by Einstein a long while back. There is only the present. When mind touches memories, it becomes past, or when mind touches planning, it becomes future. In present, only perfect completeness exists. Well, of course, time is an illusion, so to speak, an illusion that never happens. But of course, there is no present either. So there just is no present thing in which everything is complete. Of course not, no. I mean, only perfect completeness exists. Well, One could say all there is perfect completeness, but it doesn't exist, of course. Nothing exists. So there is no such thing as perfect completeness. One could say what happens, what apparently happens, an apparent body sitting on Zoom, listening, breathing, talking, typing, is perfect completeness already for no one. Yeah. Okay, well, this is it, of course. This is everything. There is nothing else. Sitting on Zoom for half an hour and a half with Izzy, speaking, typing, breathing, is just all there is. And it doesn't happen to anyone. It doesn't happen to no one, a thing or a being called no one. It's just what apparently happens. And it's whole and complete and perfect, if you like, exactly as it is. Nothing could die or fall away. So as I said, I'm really sorry for those who joined a little bit later. But actually, yeah, thank you, Tony, in the chat. The full recording will obviously be on YouTube soon, so those who were a bit late can catch up. But yes, so the next Zoom meeting will be Saturday at 11 a.m. British time. And then next Wednesday, it will be at 6 p.m. British time. And so I'm thinking that all the clocks will have just hopefully be normal for those in America now. But I did realize actually there's because obviously the American clocks haven't changed. So I think the difference is less, or it's more. I think it's an hour more, obviously.
No, they did change. They did change here.
Oh, sorry, did they? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a call with someone.
So it's back to normal, I think.
Okay. Oh, cool. Thank you very much. Okay, yeah. So anyway, all the stuff will be online. But yeah, maybe see some of you on Saturday, if not next week. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Izzy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Love
you
ya.
so much, Izzy.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
everyone.
Love you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Aw.